wasn't what it is now, but this was 15 years ago, roughly, and the Springer homepage actually had like a comment section at Board, and it was really popular. People were writing in, and that was like the main place for everybody to communicate. It was interesting. What you were doing kind of reminded me of that board that we used to have.
Oh yeah, well I didn't even know about the board. When I got Facebook, I was like, I'm a huge fan of the show. Like these guys like getting their ass kicked. They need a fan page of appreciation, like.
Yeah. It was helpful for me as a new guy because I was trying to feel my way through and learn how to do it.
Right.
Because Steve had already moved on to his own show. I only had Jimmy Sherlock to learn from. Jimmy's one of the best humans I've ever met. But it helped me to read the board and hear the comments people would say about me, and I learned from that. Like, oh, don't do that, don't do that. Or the audience likes that, do more of this.
Right.
So it helped me out quite a bit.
I always thought it was funny when you just grab people and sling them across the stage. I thought that shit was hilarious. Like.
So did I, and it seemed like people liked it until the producer pulled us to the side one day and said, hey, she's telling me and Jason, like, you guys got to stop throwing the guests around. I'm like, people love it. Like, you hear them cheer, right? They're like, yeah, but kind of dangerous, somebody lands the wrong way, whatever. Like, we're okay, they're fine.
I got a couple clips.
They go back to beating each other over the head, but I can't throw them across the stage.
Yeah, exactly. I got a couple of clips of you just taking a guy by the seat of his pants and just slinging him across the stage. I laugh about that a lot. I'm like, it's hilarious.
It's an old police move you learn so that they can't run away from you. If you grab them by the belt, they'll never get away. If you're hanging on to their shirt or their jacket, they'll jump right out of the jacket, or their shirt will rip away. But if you got their belt, they ain't going nowhere.
Right, right. Well, I guess that leads me into my first question. How did you get on the show? Like, how did that start?
So at the time, Steve Wilkos, who I knew through a mutual friend, Mike O'Connor, who also used to work on the show back in the day, back when they were super popular. I knew Steve Wilkos. He's another Chicago policeman, right? He was at the time. And Steve was getting his own show. So they told Steve, you need to have your own Steve, like your own head of security. So he's like, I got the perfect guy. He called me. I went into NBC and I met the producer, Richard Dominic, who's a great guy. Met Richard Dominic, and he was looking at me. He's like, I like this guy. I want you to be the head of security for the Steve Wilkos show. But I also want you to work on Springer. They tape, like Springer taped 5 shows, and then we'd flip the set, and then we'd tape 5 Steve Wilkos shows. So I was the head of security on Wilkos the first season. And the show was evolving. They didn't really know how it was going to work out. And pretty much about halfway through the year, towards the end of the year, they decided we need to have Steve be the tough guy on his show. So we don't need him calling up. He used to be like, the guest would act up and he'd say, Pete, I'm going to have Officer Pete Kelly come up here and throw you off stage.
Yeah.
And then sooner or later he'd go, Pete, get this guy out of here. And I'd go up there and throw the guy off. But they decided, no, let's have Steve throw his own guests off, which I think is a great idea.
Yeah.
So I finished out my year on Wilkos. I was learning as I was on Springer. Then we brought in the girls. The girls were supposed to be the head of security on Springer.
Right.
The girl thing didn't work out. The audience didn't like it. I don't know exactly what happened there. But I ended up taking over Springer full-time and only filled in on Wilkos once in a while.
Right.
But Mike McDermott, who you met and know, he's the head of security for Steve Wilkos' show.
Yeah, yeah. He was a really nice guy.
Great guy.
Yeah, I saw him sitting there in the front row, and I said, I got to talk to this guy. And my girlfriend's like, you know that guy? I'm like, hell yeah. I'm like, I've been watching all these guys for years.
Yeah. And Mike's like, if you say one word to him, he's your best friend, and he's yapping your ear off for 2 hours.
Oh, really?
He loves when people talk to him, yeah.
Oh, good.
He's
Yeah.
a good dude.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Well, all the guys that I met, when I came back in 2013, I met Jason and Dan Peterson, and then,
Yep.
Yeah, all great guys.
Yep. And then we had that big dude, Chris.
I met Chris, yeah.
When we moved to Stanford, it was me and Jason were the only two who would fly out, and then we picked up like this Stanford crew of retired firemen, retired policemen who would help out, and they worked the crowd and they helped with everything else. But me and Jason were really the show guys. We would come in and work the show. But all those guys turned out to be awesome too. Orlando and Mike and Chris and all of those guys. And then the camera crew too out there was excellent. Both camera crews, Chicago too. I'm still friends with all those guys. It's great to pick up a side job, right? You end up flying to New York once a week, and then you got all these friends there.
Yeah, exactly.
The
Yeah.
camera guys are awesome. The sound guy's awesome. The audio woman was fantastic. The makeup lady, like all these people were so cool.
I think I'm friends with Beth on Facebook. She likes the page. Yeah.
Audio person, awesome, great person. Yeah, and her husband is a musician, like a rock and roll guy. Great people.
Awesome. That's great. So did you like going out to New York every week? Like, was that inconvenient, or did it get scheduling? Because I knew sometimes you and Jason weren't the guys. It was big fella Chris and then the black guy were doing it.
It's you know what? I just felt fortunate. I was just so happy and so lucky to have a job like that. There's 13,000 policemen, Chicago police, and nobody had a job like that. You know, like you go to work, you jump in a limo, you go to New York, you work there for 2 days and fly back, and it was. I just felt privileged to be able to do it.
Of course.
And like I said, you're an actor. You know that most of the people in the acting community, behind the camera and in front of the camera, are wonderful people, really caring and nice and giving and looking out for each other, right? You don't get that in a lot of jobs. In most jobs, it's kind of cutthroat. People got an angle. In the acting community, people are really nice, wonderful people.
Yes, they are. Yeah. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to the little bit that I've done. I mean, I've never had a bad experience ever.
Yeah.
So
you go into a set or a job, and you're kind of scared at first, like, what's this going to be like? And then everybody is so warm and welcoming, right? From the minute you get in the makeup trailer, those people are awesome. You get on the set, and what do you need? Well, can I help you? Everybody's really great people.
they really are. Yeah. I mean, I'm very glad I'm able to do it as much as I am. I mean, I try to do it as full time as I can. Obviously, that doesn't work out all the time, but as much as I can, I try to do
You're
it.
doing such a good job, and then especially from where you're at, like you're not in the hub of all the activity, right? You're not in New York, LA, Chicago. You're not in, like, I think Vancouver's a pretty big spot too now, right?
It is,
you're
yeah.
in Washington, and you're still making it happen, so kudos to you. That's a great job.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I saw it as like if I ever do move on to a larger market, I have built up my resume in this area. It's a big fish in a small pond because I got people now. I don't even audition half the time. They call me.
Yeah.
I just go over there and do something for them, and then they'll refer me to their friends, and then I'll go over there and you really can't get a lot of that in LA. I mean, at least at first when you go out there.
Right,
So.
right. So they know that you've worked. They know you show up. They know you know your lines. You do your job. You don't start any drama. Hire him.
Very
Perfect
true.
Guy. Call Mark. We need Mark. You know what I mean? That's how you build your reputation. You start there. And then from there, then you become, he's actually a good actor too. And then he can, you keep stepping up your job, right?
For sure, definitely. And that's happened. I've actually been bumped up a couple times from background. This was like when I first started out to a speaking role because of that very reason. I kept showing up every week. They needed a guy who was doing a Civil War show for Fox News Channel.
Yep.
And I had this big beard at the time. And then I would shave it down to a mustache. And then I'd shave it down to something else and then clean shaven. And the guy said, this guy really changed his look. We can keep having him come back. So I kept coming back. And finally, he's like, you would just want a line? He's like, you want to do something? I'm like, hell yeah, man. That's why I'm here. So it just, it worked out. My grandfather brag. He watches Fox every day. He's bragging to all his buddies. Hey, my grandson's on the Fox News channel. Yeah, it was a lot of fun doing that show.
That's how you do it, man. Jerry always used to say to us, and I believe this 100%. He said, no matter what your job is, be the best at it. If you're a dishwasher, be the best dishwasher they've had. Because somebody's going to take notice and bump you up. Then be the best at that job. Bump up, bump up. That's how you do it. You just keep working hard, doing your job. Don't talk a lot of shit. Just do your job. Be
Exactly.
the best at it. And somebody will notice. Somebody will promote you.
And I think a lot of the youth today could learn from that. They really could.
Yeah.
So-
Well, everybody today, they want to just, they think they just walk into it and they're the man. Like,
Yeah.
no, man, you got to start at the bottom, work your way through. And you need to learn how everything works. You need to know the ins and the outs of everything around you, not just your primo position. You know what I mean?
Definitely, definitely. Well, I mean, I feel like my generation, I mean, I still fall in that millennial category, but I still feel like, you know, my generation was the last one that had that instilled in them as kids to work hard, like you said, be the best at whatever you can be. And I just feel like the one that came after me is just really, from what I'm seeing and, you know, seeing on sets even, I mean, they get an opportunity and they're, you know, on the phone the whole time. I'm like, why aren't you networking? Why aren't you talking to these people? Somebody could help you out here, like, you know?
Yes. You know what used to drive me crazy, still does. So you do your scene, and then everybody goes back to their trailer, goes and sits down, and nobody pays attention. I would stay right there and watch the next scene and the next thing. And I wanted to soak it all in. What does the camera guy do? How does he move this? Where does the audio guy go? You know, how do the stand-ins work? You need to know all that stuff because in some way it's going to help you in the future.
Of course, definitely.
And like you said also, all the people that you meet and network with, and they're all really usually wonderful people, they become your friends and your connections, and you network with them thanks to Facebook now. One of the good things about Facebook, you can stay in touch with these people.
Yes, you can.
You learn about them, and maybe in the future recommend them for something. Or they recommend you, or I need somebody, or I got a connection in Washington, D.C. Somebody cuts me about Washington, D.C., I got my guy Mark there. I'll call him.
I appreciate it.
That's how it works.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I mean, I do that all the time, and if I can't take a role, I have like a contact list of people who I know will do a good job and not make me look bad. I can just refer these people to them.
And all that happens because you didn't go back and sit in your trailer and read a book.
Exactly.
You were there talking to people and learning and watching.
Exactly. No,
Yeah,
that's...
good job.
Well, I guess that leads me into my second question. Well, let's see here. I got like chicken scratch written down because I have a stream of consciousness when I'm writing this stuff out. I would say, what is the wildest moment that you had on the show? Because I know Steve's. I've heard Steve's multiple times. I wondered what yours was.
Oh, Steve's got his one craziest moment from Springer?
Yeah, he said this man who he thought was a man ripped his shirt off, and one fully formed female tit was there. Yeah.
I can't believe that's his one thing. He was there during the heyday of Springer when they were number one and they beat Oprah in the ratings. I would have to believe he's seen a lot more than that.
I guess that's all he was willing to tell the public.
Yeah, maybe that's just his official answer. Yeah. Because those guys, like Jimmy Sherlock was there then, McDermott was there, Wilkos. I'm sure that they saw the real crazy stuff. I seen plenty too, and I can't even remember it all. Like somebody will see an old Springer show and be like, "Hey, I saw you on Springer, and it was you, and you were wrestling two midgets, and then this guy flew in and with these wings on and jumped on your back," and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't remember that." Like, how could you not remember fighting two midgets and a guy with wings? Like, man, that happened every day. It was just regular shows. I can't remember all those. I did over 1,000 shows. I can't remember all those.
Do you still have any of the tapes? Like, did they give you any footage to keep? No.
I used to have my DVR was like full of little funny Springer things, but I lost it a long time ago.
Oh, wow.
But I can answer your question. My craziest moment on the show.
Yeah.
We had this lady on the show, and her name was Grandma Rapp. So it was an old black lady. She was wearing a skirt, and she was going to come out on the stage and rap. So Jerry introduces her, talks to her a little bit. Let's see her show. She starts rapping. So she's strutting across the stage, doing her rap. She was so scared and so nervous, she started going poo on the stage.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Like little dirt balls were dropping out of her skirt onto the stage.
Oh my God.
Jerry doesn't see it. He's on the other side of the stage. So I'm like, Jerry, like trying to tell him. So he goes walking back out there to Tom, Jerry, like, watch out, she shit on the stage. And he's like, ah. So, of course, Grandma Rap turned into Grandma Crap.
There you go. Did that show air? I've never seen that one.
Yeah, I'm sure it was on.
Oh my God! Was that early on? Was that like when you first started?
Man, I don't know. I think it was in Chicago. So
okay.
That was my first 4 years. I did 4 years in Chicago and 4 years in Stanford.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it was in Chicago.
Wow, that's insane. Yeah. Well, it's oh my God! I need to go. I need to try. That's going to be my mission to find that clip now. I'm going to try to find.
If anybody can find it, you will.
I will try to do. I'd scour YouTube and I'd find it. I got a bunch of clips on my laptop here. I just dish them out every once in a while on the page.
Yeah.
Make compilations, put them on. Some of them are on YouTube. You know, I got a bunch of stuff. Did anything ever happen?
I've seen a lot of your videos. You do a great job with that stuff.
Oh, thank you. That's my hobby. That's my fun hobby, editing videos and stuff. Yeah.
Kind of like you're like a master editor at this point.
I like to think so. I'm master of iMovie, I guess.
There you go.
Did anything ever happen backstage with any guests? Like, did they ever actually want to fight the security guards, and you guys had to like rough them up a little bit backstage? Like, did that ever happen? Like,
yeah, it happened quite a bit. People, they got real emotional because, contrary to popular belief, 95% of those stories are totally true.
Yeah.
They can't fake it. You can't bring people in and put them in front of a camera and an audience and expect them to fake it.
Right.
It has to have really happened, and it has to be in their memory. So then the producers would separate each guest before the show and get them all psyched up and give them 10 Red Bulls and give them all the cigarettes they want, and then start telling them, like, hey, your wife cheated on you with your brother? Your brother's in the other room telling everybody he's still cheating on her.
Oh,
or he's still with her. And your wife's telling everybody she wants to go back to your brother. Like, we just lie to them and get them all psyched up, so when they hit the stage, bam, they heard the bell ding-ding, and they just went at it.
Just ready to go.
Sometimes carried over to backstage.
But you guys, like...
Here's a funnier story. I'm on stage, and this big guy comes out. He was over 300 pounds, kind of fat, but you could tell he was like the town tough guy, wherever he was from. He comes out, and he grabs the woman right away, and our rule was you cannot touch the woman on the show. I grab him, me and him start tussling, I throw him on the ground, and he's like, let me up, I'll fight you, and I look at the producer, Richard Dominic, and he's like, let him up. Okay, so I let him up. We square off. And I'm thinking, like, I can't just punch this guy because I'll get fired.
Yeah.
But this guy's fighting, so he starts swinging, full on swinging. So I'm slapping him, bam, bam, slap, slap, move and duck, slap. Finally, I just like, this guy's punching me, I'm punching back, and I start going off on him, punching him. Everybody breaks it up at that point. So now we go to commercial. We go backstage, and I'm like psyched, and I go after him. I'm just ready to jump on him, and he looks at me and goes, "That was pretty good, right? Was that all right?" And I'm like, "Oh man, this guy was just playing it up the whole time. Like, just the producers told him just go after the security, go be crazy."
My God.
I thought it was real. He thought he was acting, and it's like, oh man, I got to remember this is all TV.
You know what's funny? I got this clip on my YouTube. When you were describing it, I was thinking, I was like, I'm wearing a blue shirt, I believe. I got this clip on my YouTube.
Yeah, my shirt's ripped.
Yeah, I got it.
He threw him down. I looked over at them, like, he's like, let me up, I'll fight, let me up. And I look over at Richard. Richard, like, thought about it for a second. He's like, yeah, let him up. I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
I told him he's coming. I'm like, I'm telling you, if you come after me, you're going to get it. Like, meaning to me, this ain't the show anymore. You come after me, you're going to get it. And he did. But I kept slapping him, so I didn't want to get fired.
No. Well, I got that clip. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I think you called him a little bitch or something once you got him on the ground.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Laying there like a little bitch.
Yeah, I got this one.
Laying there like a little bitch.
Yeah, I can send you the clip. I got it on my YouTube.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I got that. I was like, yeah, I think the show was called Footboxing was the name of the show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because I got a memory for shit like that. Useless
Dude, unreal.
information.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, did you ever have like a bad injury that came from the show, like really bad?
Yeah, I broke my neck.
Oh my God! How did that
That's
happen?
why I left the show. I broke my neck, and I had to go have neck surgery.
Oh, I thought that was because of the accident with the neighbor, with the shooting.
So what happened? Here's how it played out. Actually, is I was on the show. We had a big fight on the show, like we always do, nothing special. And I go back for commercial, and it looked to me like a bone was sticking under the skin, but like sticking out of my arm. And I looked at my arm. I looked at Jason. I'm like, dude, my arm's broke. He's like, holy cow, that's bad. So I sat out the show for the rest of the week. I flew back to Chicago, and I wasn't really sure if it was broke or what was going on, but I started having bad pain and numb hand and numb neck and all this stuff. Go to the doctor, and he tells me your neck's broke and your nerves are getting crushed in your neck. We're going to have to do surgery. First, you go through physical therapy. They try to fix it that way. That's probably an insurance company thing, but you have to go through your physical therapy, and then I'm scheduled for neck surgery. Well, right before I get my neck surgery, I get shot at my police job. So I can't go get my broken neck fixed because I got shot. So I had to recover from getting shot. That took like a year and a half. Whenever you want to say I was recovered well enough to then withstand the neck surgery. So then I finally went and got the neck surgery.
Right.
Probably 2 years after I got shot, I went and finally did my neck surgery.
Yeah.
And that doctor, when I went back to see him for my follow-up,
Right.
I hugged him. I'm like, you saved my life. Thank you so much. He relieved so much neck pain and problems I had for so long. Like, man, I love that guy.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. I'm really glad that he was able to help you, and I had no idea. I this whole time I was like, because I remember hearing in an interview you did for the web series that about the stuff with the neighbor, and I didn't know that the neck was the reason you left Springer. I thought it all was because of the shooting. Yeah.
No, I was off already for the broken neck, and then got shot.
Wow.
Then,
Well,
you know how it goes.
One thing after another. Yeah. It's just insane.
But I'm all good now. Everything's fine.
Yeah. So when did you move out to Hawaii?
So after I got shot, I had 1 year to come back to work. Otherwise, you get put on disability. So I thought I was coming back for sure. I thought my nerve would come back. They tell you that my nerve was severed in my bicep. I got shot in the bicep, and it came out the back through my tricep. So they would tell you that your nerve grows back at the rate of 1 inch a month. And it needed to grow from my bicep back down to my hand, and that I should be able to make it in time, but it would be close.
Right.
And it just never came back, and it still hasn't come back. I can't open my hand. I can close my hand, okay, but I can't open my hand. And I have a bunch of atrophy in my arm, and I have pain probably 3-4 days a week. It's pretty bad. I couldn't make it back to my police job. And then we were in Chicago, and I'm on disability, and I just said to Jess, I said, our plan was eventually to move to Hawaii, so let's just do it now.
Of course, why not?
Not the police, so let's go. And the cold weather in Chicago really killed my nerves in my neck and my arm. So coming to the warm climate, like a warm, nice, humid climate, really helps a lot.
For sure. Use it that way.
My wife and I still do it to this day. We try to do a good deed every day, whether it's helping somebody into a parking spot, whether it's whatever we can do, helping somebody load up a surfboard on their car. We're just always looking to try to help somebody, and we laugh and smile at each other like, there's your good deed for the day.
There you go.
Good deed. We try to find people to help. That's what you do.
Now, did you guys meet when you were working as a policeman, or through Springer, or how did?
Police and Jess. I met Jess at a Blackhawks game.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah. So in between the periods at the Blackhawks game, everybody goes out to the concourse and has a drink and talks. And I saw Jess and her girlfriend. I was with my buddy Andre, who's a big guy, and I walked up behind Jess, I picked her up, turned her upside down, and stuffed her in the garbage can.
And she still stuck around?
And she jumped out, and then she was so cool. Like, I like this girl.
Yeah, there you go.
So I know I'm real smooth with the women.
Oh, I need to try that tactic.
Good luck. Probably get arrested now. So it's either go to jail or find a wife. And,
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, but I knew right away, right? She's awesome. She's literally the best person I've ever met. She's awesome.
I'm really glad to hear that. How long have you all been together?
12 years now.
12 years, wow.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to last a couple years in my relationships, but props to
I
you.
used to do that too. Like 6 years was my mark. And every 6 years I'd end up breaking up, but this one's good.
I'm really glad to hear
I'm
that.
with her forever, that's for sure.
Well, I see you post on, doing the scaring her in the store and stuff on Instagram. I'm like, this is fun. This is the kind of couple goals I need right here.
Right.
I need a relationship like that.
Gotta be your best friend, right?
Yeah, exactly. You do.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Instagram, I saw a picture and I commented, I was like, I need to know the story of this. You had, it was a picture of you with a high heel shoe beside it, and you were covered in, looked like blood, and it was just a random shoe. What is the deal with that?
I gotta tell you that one in person.
You gotta tell me,
I can't tell you on camera that one.
Okay, gotcha. All right, fair enough.
Let's just say I was helping my neighborhood, and I ended up getting a shoe in the forehead.
Oh, wow.
I got hit over the head with the heel of a shoe and ended up with some stitches.
Oh, my
But
God.
there's a lot more to that story. I just can't tell that one on camera.
I understand, definitely.